Good evening everyone and welcome to the stream. It's Wednesday. It's actually not Wednesday, is it? It's Thursday. Yes, last night was a bit of a failure. I'm very aware this evening that my friend Drew is streaming, so that perhaps the normal visitor I usually have, Mr. Hoggard, Daddy Hoggy, may not be online this evening. If that's the case, then alas. I'm not even sure if he knows I'm streaming tonight. I know he wasn't around last night because he goes to a particular thing. And I did say to him that because he wouldn't be around because of Wood Watchers, I would postpone the Carrier Command mission until next week. And then spousal health thing happened. Yes, my wife was unwell. I was having some issues, and at short notice I had to cancel last night's stream and postpone it to today. So here I am on Thursday streaming again. And apparently I do have a couple of viewers. I'm not sure if that's just me and Nightbot, because that's all that's coming up on the list. I've noticed that the chat window seems to have changed a bit, which is interesting. So I have a different thing. Oh, just pulled my headphones out. That was clever. Yeah, the chat interface window has changed significantly. I know that Twitch has been doing a few updates lately, so it's good to see that they're keeping up to date with what users want. But just pop the headphones back in. So it's just kind of interesting to see what we can do this evening. So I'm kind of a bit up in the air. I'm going to wait a few minutes and let people get online. I've left it a bit later this evening just so that people have got a chance to get online. And then I'll make a decision as to what we're actually going to do. But one thing I will say is that I have had a few different things happening this week. So this may or may not go on YouTube. If it has gone on YouTube and you guys on YouTube are there, then hello and thank you for watching. The title of this video and the description should be a little clearer on what this is actually about. But for the moment, whilst waiting for something to happen, I'm going to have a bit of a real life thing. So some time ago, I bought a small PC, a mini PC, MiniITX PC in a tiny little box. Can't remember what it's branded as now. But essentially it's a very, very small computer. And designed for education, if I remember correctly. And I bought it at a computer fair for the princely sum of £35. Installed with Windows 10 on a 210 gig hard drive. Not a particularly powerful piece of kit, but powerful enough to be what I wanted it to be, which is a media server. I want something that's going to be able to serve video and music across the house. Maybe at some point through Alexa, I don't know, but certainly on the wireless network at home, so that we've got something that can pipe music around the house and to the various devices that we've got through various mediums. The one I use is Plex. The other one I use is Amazon Prime, and Roku are all things that all tie together to allow media to go around the house. I think, from what I know at the moment, the only thing I've really got that can pipe that media around is Plex, and it's very useful for things like music playing and so on. There are voice control options for it, I believe, but there are loads of other things. So basically what I'm trying to do is build a media server that I can use for a variety of different things. So what I'm doing with it at the moment is trying to upgrade it, make sure that it works, and everything so far has pointed to the fact that it's a perfectly good working piece of kit. Oops. And that it will be suitable for the purpose I'm looking for. After a few weeks of testing it, I've discovered it has a bit of an issue, and that is that when you get to a certain level of usage, it cuts out, just drops dead. Now all my research says that this is one of two things. This is either a memory issue, or it's something to do with the power. Now one of the things I am aware of is that power is a big thing for computers. So So in my research I've been looking around what power supplies you need, what power supplies I have with this one, and what actually works with it. So let me just do a bit of a studio test in this. Okay, you'll have the ghostly hands in a few seconds here. So essentially what we have, so let me try and make sure I've got the right things happening here. So let me flip that so you can see what I'm doing. It gives you something a little more interesting to look at than the blank screen of death. And what we have here is my camera feed to the desktop. Now there's me, hello. Let's have a look at DaveCam1 settings and just see if we can get some focus going here. It's kind of random focus on there, I'm afraid. I think that should be okay. Let me lock that in. Are we on autofocus? No, we aren't. Let's do that. I should now be able to focus on exactly what we're doing. So yeah, the intent, until people pop in and start saying hello and stuff like that, we'll take a look at this computer. So what we have is potentially a power issue. Now, knowing how computers work, you need to have a certain wattage of power supply to run various peripherals. My home computer, for the computer that you're looking at this on, the games PC, is a computer with a 260 watt power supply in it, which was required to power everything that's connected through USB, like the Oculus Rift, hard drives and so on, and what goes on from there. Whilst I've been waiting for all these things to happen, I've found a way to fix things up. So essentially, this is the box. This is our little piece of kit here. So there you go. It's RM computers. Can we focus? Would that be nice? RM Mini PC 201. So there you go. Some serial number information for you there. I'm not going to show you the other side because it's got some information on it that you might be able to use. There's the front of the box. This on top here. I'll just scan up a little bit. There's me. You're not getting to see that. Don't need to see that. Here's the DVD drive and the hard drive. Let me pop that around so you can see it a little better. Yes, a hard drive. Toshiba hard drive. I think that's the original one that came with it. The 250 one. I can't remember. So I actually put two in. Yeah, 250 gig. At the bottom there says it. 250 gig. Toshiba hard drive. I do have a 1 terabyte drive that came with my new laptop, which is kind of over there, behind the glass. So it's that white thing at the bottom there. This. Don't have any audio on, so I'll put some audio on just for the sake of doing that. But we don't have any audio. I'll put some music on, just to fill in the blanks when I'm thinking or trying to work out what the hell I'm talking about. Yes, let's do that. Turn it down a little. Boop. Boop. So yes, that's that. So DVD drive, hard drive, cables. Inside we have various bits and pieces that you would expect from this kind of computer. So let's have a look at what we've got. Let's put that over that side just now and have a closer look inside the box. So what we've got, your usual PC gubbins. This is the fan spacer. We'll take that out for now. It's an Intel CPU that's in there. This piece of kit here is the heatsink. It's very interestingly cabled in, so just let me untangle that for now. Now what I did was I took this apart to just try and check that the components inside weren't damaged in any way, or that there was any sign of wear and tear, all that kind of stuff, and to check the CPU for any damage or anything like that. And one of the things that I always do check for is that the paste is in place on the CPU, but we'll leave that for a bit later on. Just hang on a sec and let me Bring up the configure video window again. I'm going to keep that alive because I think there's a bit focusing issues with this bloody thing as usual. This is the problem with the webcam. Right, so what we have at the back here. I'm kind of in temporary find out what's going on mode, Colonimus, but yeah, it's been a fair while since I started now, so I'm gonna thingy. I am actually holding off for the carrier command until Daddy Hoggy arrives, because it may be the last session before going. Well, we may be going to Vulcan in this session. Chat. My apologies. Sorry, Clonimus, if you were expecting Gaia mission, then I apologise. I may pop onto it later if if Daddy Hoggy pops in. If he doesn't, I'm going to leave it until he pops in. I don't know what he's doing this evening. I don't know what Thursdays usually are for him. I know that Drew Wagar also twitches on Thursdays, and sadly I am streaming over him as well. But we don't usually share the same audience, just Daddy Hoggy, and obviously because John is one of my bestest friends in the world, then I do tend to try and tailor things for him, because he's the regular viewer of regular viewers. Anyway, that's that explained. So, yes, we're on the right track with the descriptions now. So, as I say, if Daddy Hoggy pops in, then we'll take a look. But for the moment, we're just having a bit of chewing the fat, rough chat. This box is a mini PC. I've bought this. I went over all this at the start of the stream, so I'm not going to go in that much detail again. But it's a very small computer, quite low powered. It was a machine built for educational purposes some years ago. It originally came with Windows 7. Still running Windows 7 if I remember from what I installed in it. And it's an RM mini PC. MiniITX form factor, MiniITX board inside, an old oh god, I can't even remember the name of it now. An old Intel processor that is not particularly powerful, running inside, and 4 gig of RAM. Am I right in thinking that? 4 gig of RAM? Anyway, Pentium. Yes, old. It's a Pentium. Hang on. E5800. There you go. Look that up for the stats. It's on the label. Yeah, so it is Pentium dual core 3200. It's 2 gig of RAM. Although I think it was upgraded. Let me just check. Just pop this memory stick out. Now we'll bear in mind that I'm not doing all of the normal safety stuff because I'm on a thing anyway. No, it's 2 gig sticks. So we are indeed looking at a 4 gig machine. So it's been upgraded to 4 gig. So we're golden with that. Okay, now to take a look at the other things. So I say we've got a 250 gig hard drive, DVD drive on the back there, Pentium for 5800 processor, 4 gig of RAM, and a power supply that looks like this. So this is the MiniITX power supply. I've unscrewed this from the case because I was trying to get all the stats from it to find out what I needed to do and how much it would run from. So it's a 12 volt in, which comes in through this power supply socket. So it's not a usual standard way of powering a PC, but it's built to kind of meet up with laptop specifications, so it can theoretically be powered by a laptop supply. So there we have a 5.5mm external connector, and internal pin is 1.1mm. So 12 volt in. Detricked! Hello! This is a bit of a weird time for you to come in when I'm doing one of the weirdest streams I've done. So yeah. As you can see, that's it. ITX power supplies are 3 different designs that I've seen. There's this design, which is a circuit board with a plug that goes externally into the PC and a power supply like that. So that goes round. I'm just going to tilt the camera up. So that goes round into that power socket there. Or it's not fixing PC, it's upgrading and accurizing. I suppose in a way it's fixing because it doesn't have enough power going to it, I don't think. But that's yet to come in the description. So yeah, that's how the power supply goes. The other option you have for these is you have a little card that actually fits into that slot with all that circuitry, all the circuitry here, kind of on a very small form factor. So it literally sits in there and sits proud to about there on the board. Or you can have a box power supply which has all the same connectors and is intended to sit kind of in that bay there. Sorry, let's just try and point to the right place. In that bay there at the side, if there's enough clearance. But in this particular design of case, there isn't enough clearance for it. So the reason it's in bits at the moment is because I was trying to, one, check on some of the components, make sure they're okay and intact, and check on some of the bits and pieces around it and see what I could do in terms of altering the power supply. 1 month to go and we'll see you. No, you won't, Dietrich. I'm not going to Fantasticon this year, sorry. I went to Elite Meet and that was my one Elite related thing for this year. So I am not going to Fantasticon, I'm afraid. Sorry. Sorry. But I have to try and target some finances at other stuff. So anyways, woo. So yeah, so why am I doing this? As Clinimus asked before, I'm trying to build a media server. This machine is perfectly good to do that. I have it set up as a media server, however it was having power cutouts. The reason it's having power cutouts, I think, is because there was insufficient power going to the machine. So to go into why that's actually happening and why I'm now going to just put this PC back together. He says now dragging out cables. This was the power supply that came with the machine bought from the computer fair. So, trying to work out what amount of watts were required by the machine. Obviously you need a certain amount of power, so 12 watts needs to go to the main power bus, 3 volts of that needs to go to your actual main power for the system board itself and all the components, and then however much power is left you've got going around the rest of the bits and pieces and are available for the USB. Everything you plug into a USB slot obviously has a power requirement for it. So the universal serial bus does need some power to go to things, or you can externally power them. So plugging an external hard drive into this is perfectly fine. It'll work it fine, no problems. You try and plug anything else into it, plug it in, boom, it just dies. So that had to be dealt with. So what I had to work out was, one, is there a problem with the memory or the chips? I've run some diagnostic processes, run some system issues, run some what was going on. And everything that was running on the machine showed that there were no power spikes, there was nothing going on, there was no CPU hits, the power outages weren't happening during a CPU rush or a memory rush. It was just whenever the power had to go through and do something else, it was cutting out. We just left it alone, didn't do anything with it, it was okay, but didn't do anything moving it around, it was okay, which made me wonder if there was an issue with the power socket itself as well. But yeah, it just seems that once you get a certain amount of power spike coming through, it was just cutting out. So, nothing visible wrong with the actual machine. Cleaned everything out, made sure everything was plugged in properly and secure. Everything was secure and fine. I've now cleaned off the chip, as you can see. So the chip is now exposed. There's no material on there from the paste. If you look on there, you've got the paste residue on the fan from when I took it off. That needs to be cleaned off. But it looked okay, you know, it wasn't slapped on there thickly. It's not particularly across the entire thing, so I think there was issues there, but we can resolve that. It's a bit dusty, but that doesn't usually impact performance, but I will take a soft brush around some of the components before we put it back together and make sure it's okay. All the pins on the CPU are okay and everything's fine. Which brought me back to, was it the power supply? So, using my limited knowledge of physics and electricity, I had to look at the power supply itself. So the brick, if you can read that there, output 12 volt, so you've got your output there, 12 volt, 4.17 amps. So what's that in real money? Well, your wattage is calculated by voltage times amperage. So 12 times 4 is, let me do a quick bit of maths, 12 times 4, 24, 48, plus the 17 times 4. So let's say 4950 watts. 50 watts. Not great. 50 watts of power is about enough to power a toaster. So this is not the right power supply for a computer like this. It does power it, but anytime you start pumping something else onto it, it just doesn't have the whack to do what you need it to do. So that kind of, I think, gave me the answer to what needed to be done. So as far as I was concerned, the first thing I had to do was try and get more power to the thing and see what happens. But obviously then still keep to a 12 volt DC current. So I shopped around and I got one, and I'll show you that in a bit. So for the time being, I thought it'd be interesting to have a bit of a PC rummage while we try and work out what we're going to do for the stream. If it lasts an hour, then we'll do some gaming for the second hour, or we'll do something else. But essentially, if you're interested, I'm going to stick all this stuff back together, and I hope that'll be quite interesting for you. So initially, what I'm going to do is do a bit of cleaning, a bit of housekeeping. So things are a bit dusty, and obviously if you have a computer apart, then the best thing you can do is basically just give it a bit of a clean while you're there, and just get stuff all cleaned up. Okay, I'm gonna clean that off. So that cleans the inside of the fan. Now I'm not being particularly finicky with it. I'm just taking a brush to it, getting rid of the stuff that's on the surface, and then giving it a wipe with my fingers, because I don't want to start putting wet cloths anywhere near it because it's machinery. And then we'll start putting everything back together. So a bit of spring cleaning, that's what you did. Yeah, it's a really good use for older PCs. I mean, they're not going to be doing a lot of processing, all they're doing really is serving media. And if you're not running things like servers and stuff off them, like stuff like that, you know, main processing power, you're not running games, you're not running applications, all you're doing is letting it sit there and run a server, then they're really good for it. This is a fairly powerful machine. I mean, it's 1780 on the benchmarking, so that's not bad for a PC that size and that age. It's not bad at all. Okay, so that's that cleaned out. Yeah, I don't have compressed air, so I kind of resent going to buy compressed air canisters. I do have a compressor for an airbrush, but I'm not getting that out for that at the moment because it's buried under crap. I mean, that's where everything is buried at the minute, just over in that pile. That's my project, by the way. Yeah, it's got to be kind of a mess in here again, but that's fine. I can deal. Get that cable out of the way. It's me, Mario. Hello. So that's that clean. That's not too bad at all. Alright, so I'm not really wanting to disconnect everything on this machine. So I'm just trying to work around what I've got and get what I can get to. I mean, that's a hefty heatsink there. What I will do is I'll grab a wipe and take some of that stuff off. So I mean, that probably hasn't been changed since it was bought. Not since I bought it, but obviously since it was manufactured. Although I don't know, I mean, I wasn't sure about the guy that I bought it from. I mean, he seemed like a fairly knowledgeable guy, fairly honest guy from Yorkshire. I don't know if that's a contradiction in terms or not. I'm not that familiar with Yorkshire people. Although I do know a fair few people from Yorkshire. Dan, for one, he's from Yorkshire. He's fairly honest, I think. He's a publisher. Maybe he's not then. Publishers, a rum lot. Just like authors, a rum lot. And wargamers. And streamers. We're all a rum lot, really. But I actually thought he was a PC trader, like a PC shop owner or something. Turns out he's not. I can't remember actually what it was he did, but he's not a computer trader, like retailer. It's almost like he's been given a job lot of stuff to sell and sold it. It's actually a printing place or something like that. Like a printer posting shop. I think. But there were a computer fair in Derby anyway, and that's where I got this from. So I wasn't overly keen. I mean, I wasn't overly bothered. I mean, £35 for a PC, decent amount of kit in it, decent spec. I wasn't going to say no. I wasn't going to argue with it. As it turns out, the individual pieces inside aren't cheap. You know, I mean, the ITX board that's inside is still retailing for about 50 quid. The power board, this thing, is again, it's another 50 quid, actually 60 if you look in some places when they've been ripped out of PCs. I mean, I could rip this into component pieces in a pound. I could probably get about 150, 200 quid for the component parts. So I got a good deal, so I'm not complaining. The quality inside is pretty good. Everything's clean enough. It's been well looked after. Couldn't really tell if it's been well used or not. It seems to be fairly clean, robust. Obviously had a memory upgrade at some point. Don't know whether that was done by the guy. I doubt it, because the 4 gig of RAM inside it would cost you about 20 odd quid anyway. So to get the PC for 35 quid was not bad at all. This is where I need the compressed air, isn't it? Alright, so that's the fan clean. Just take a brush to the back of the power thing now. So I'm just going to tuck that to that side. Just gently run a brush down that stuff. Seems clean enough. Then we'll take a look at this side, which again looks fairly clean. Yep, no issues there at all. So tuck that over there out the way. Pull that back in. So let's see if we can get a look right inside here while I'm doing what I'm doing. So there's a few bits and pieces in there that are a bit dusty. Just try and focus on them properly. So there we go. So we've got these bits here, all around there is all a bit dusty. So I'm going to take the brush to that. Get some of the dust out of those nooks and crannies, loosen it up. Be gentle with it, don't be too forceful. And obviously there's a fan right here as well. So no compressed air for me, I have my mouth that has enough compressed air in it. Oh, 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 oh. I'll say it before you guys say it. So again, like I say, just a light coating of dust over a lot of the stuff. I don't think it'll be impairing anything on there, but you never know. Did you know most dust comes from the Sahara? Okay, so that's the majority of the dusty bits cleaned. I mean, that was the only real bit that was dusty, was the bit here by where the fan comes out of the shell. Now I could give the fan a bit of a clean. Should I? Oh, it actually seems clean enough, to be honest. So I mean, that's not bad. Obviously it's probably been serviced and cleaned at some point. Otherwise it would not be as clean as that. So processors then. Let's have a look at this processor. So it's a zero insertion forced processor. Move that out of the way, move that up. And there you go. Lifts straight out, no issues whatsoever. So under there, everything's quite clean. No issues that I can see. The pins are all fine. Pins are actually all on the board, which is weird. So that, I mean, that itself is just plates. There's no pins on there at all. It's totally flat. All the pins are actually in there, which I'm not used to. So, for those of you who may not know how to put processors in this case, for this particular processor, you have notches. So I'll angle slightly up again. You have notches. He says, come completely out of view again, on the side, and they match up to notches on the board, just there, as you can see. But every processor has a design of pins on the bottom. So let me just zoom in. There you go. So as you can see, it's a square. That corner has a pin right in the very corner, as does that one, as does that one. That one has a pin missing, so there's no pin right in that very corner, and that's how you can match it up if you don't have notches, because not all processors and processor bays have notches like this. They always have a missing pin or a missing contact in one corner, and the same is true when you look at the actual board itself. As you can see, the bottom corner there, missing a pin in that very corner, see that? And in all the other corners you have a pin right up to the corner. So that one missing pin is where you put it. Now I'm probably patient, like obviously people that are watching right now on Twitch probably know this kind of stuff, but I'm hoping to put a little education into your heads while doing interesting stuff. It's always interesting. I've never done this kind of stuff before on Twitch. Right, so it just drops on top of there. That folds over the top. Then a little bit of pressure pushes that plate down. So this plate over here makes sure you get equal pressure all the way across. It's a very ingenious design, ZIF slots. So zero insertion force is exactly what it says in the tin. It means you don't have to have any pressure in there to make a contact. Shows that I brushed a blue dust all over the fan. That was clever. Right, so that's all pretty clean. I think essentially we're ready to connect everything back up. So the first thing I'll do, I'm not going to put the power, no, I need to put the power thing back in first, then put the processor back in. Right, so I have a plug there I need to get rid of. Right, so okay, now there's a couple of ways of doing this. What I need to do is tidy up my cables again. So I'll put the, there's me again, look, hello. We'll go for this side. Now on this side over here all the cables kind of get bunched underneath. Now I'm concerned about is there are a lot of big cables on there. Now trying to make sure that they all get tucked back in where they should be and leave enough clearance for everything else is going to be the challenge. So what we have to do is, I don't want to force things too much, but there's a clip here, so just at that corner there's a clip just under there, that the cables need to run through. So there's a cable run at that far end basically that things need to run into. I'm just going to move that over. So a long time since I've done this kind of computer reinstallation stuff, and the first time I've actually ever done it online. So what I want to do is try and make sure that I can tuck all of that into this clip. So I've released that clip, which doesn't actually open because of the plug that's there in the background. Right. So move that out of the way. Apologies for the continual obscuration of what you're seeing, but angles and all that. So we'll do the angle from that side. Hopefully you might be able to see better what I'm doing. Again, apologies. I've got that caught on the heatsink. I don't want to do that. That would be bad. Of course, there is the allowable option of forgetting this altogether and not bothering. Okay, let's get the camera cable out of the way first. People watching this online are going to be looking at this going, oh, what's he doing? He's touching metal and metal, he's going to short things out. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm not doing this at all safely. I'm not earthed. I am on a non-conductive surface, and most importantly, I'm not wearing shoes. So that means that I'm not insulated from the earth through the floor. Which is at least helpful. Right, so that's got those cables out of the way. The only issue I have is the power supply, and it's non-bendy cables. Right, but now I've got enough play on there to be able to get that across. I'm assuming that the reason everyone over there has gone very quiet in chat is that you're all sitting there with your hands in your head. Your head in your hands, sorry. Oh, what the hell's he doing? He's going to break it all. Well, this wasn't all that difficult to get out, but it seems to be a pain in the arse to get back in. I'll bring that over to that side. Right, that's got it into the slot, at least. There, that's then. Right, then it comes around like so, and into the bay where it lives. Okay, bring that back round again. So I mean, it's not the most accessible case. Oh dearie me. Right, I know that. Tucks down there. So I don't think that tucks in there at all. That's just going to cause more problems than it's worth. So I'm going to take that out of there. And I'm just going to tuck it under here for now. As I say, not the most accessible design I've ever seen. Right, I'll lift lift that back out over to the other side. Put the camera back round to this side. Right, so I think what I'm need to focus on here is getting bits back in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to loose the screws. These are screws from their plastic prison. Where's my best angle for this one? Let's go there. So I'm in that far corner. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug this back in. Now it has a screw that holds it onto this metal plate, which then in turn holds that metal plate down. So I'm going to use my trusty set of precision screwdrivers to do this job today. I did use a different screwdriver set last time, but today I'm going to use the precision ones. Find a reasonable sized screwdriver. That should do the trick. It's one of those ones. Sad I don't think this one is magnetic. Right, now where is my red set of screwdrivers? These are the flipping magnetic ones. There we go. Right. So in order to make things a little easier for me, I'm going to spin things round again. So let me just move the camera out of the way just now. Oops. Okay, so there's that far corner. That far corner is now near me, so that I can get to it. There's me. Hello. Right, now what I'm doing is there's this little hole there that needs to go into there. That's captured that nicely. Okay. So now I can locate. Just going to straighten that up. Sorry about the obscuration of the view there. There you go. So that has locked that little screw in place. Just there. So that I assume is the earth for the power cable. Alright, next job is to connect these screws back to the side plate. Now this was a nightmare to undo because it's just everything is not conducive to getting things in the right place here. It's a mess of cables crammed in as close as you can possibly get. To the point I actually do regret the fact that I did this. But it had to be done. Computer maintenance is never easy. So I want to grab that cable out of there. That's the one that goes across to that power supply. So just clear it out. Again, I'm going to spin things around. glasses up so I can see close up. Now, this is where the angles get tricky. So we need to slot that down past there. Now the easy one is that one. So grab one of those big screws. Again, I'm probably going to block you guys with my hand. Screw in the hole. Line it up and lightly engage it into the hole. Then bend that one out of the way around there so that it's down the side. Try to line the other side up. And that's lined up there. This is going to be the tricky one because it's obscured by a cable. So essentially the trick I've got is to make sure that it's lined up on the screw and then thread the needle past all the other cables into the hole, which actually worked better than it had a right to. You can't see anything of that, but that's what I managed to do. Not bad. How's that for skills? Right, so I'm in the hole. I'm now in the metal hole and I'm in. Right, so I can tighten that one all the way. And I can tighten that one all the way as well. Now the option I've got is I can leave the other two screws out and not bother about plugging this back in. Because essentially that is a nightmare to get to. So what's next? Putting the power plug back on is next. So the power plug, as you saw already, is this black thing here. That goes onto the side panel of the case. As you can see, just there. Now, before I plug that in and the cables get in the way, what I will do is try and put that third screw in. So at least then I can do it while it's there. So again, I'll use the magnetic bit just to get a purchase. So thread the cable through the needle. Thread the cable. Cotton cables into there. And success. Okay, so that's it. I'll use the precision driver because it's a little bit longer and a little bit thinner. Some people like, apparently. Right. That's in. Now this is a screw there. There's a screw hole there. Can you see it? Just hang on. I can never work out the right way to move this camera looking out on the screen. Just there. No, hang on. There. There you go. So down there at the bottom, just to the right of that black cable, is a screw hole. How the hell to get to that screw hole through that mess? I have no clue. Threading the needle only gets you so far. And I'm probably going to try this and then drop this screw about 50,000 times. So, laugh along with me as I screw this up. See, dropped it once already because I'm not using the magnetic screwdriver. Now, so one thing I do have though is an extension for a screwdriver. I wonder if that'll make things any easier. There it is. I wonder if that'll make things any easier. What I have is this, which is intended for screwing long screws, not little diddy ones like we're using today. For the purposes of what we're actually trying to do, it might actually prove quite useful. So there we have our extension, which might make it a little easier to thread the needle. Almost there. I'm actually in. That actually bloody worked. Holy cow. Look at that. And so turning that, the outside doesn't turn, but the inside does turn and turns the screw. That's actually the first time I've used that DeWalt extension. So, DeWalt power tool kits. Who'd have thought it'd be good for electronics as well? Thank you, DeWalt. So that is that thing I thought was going to be really hard, actually now done. So now we are going to go into the micro screwdrivers. So one thing I hate about the micro screwdriver kit I've got is that the bits are a different size to the ones on the main screwdriver sets that I've got. I wonder if there's an adapter you can get that'll allow you to use the smaller bits. Right, so I've loaded up my screwdriver, so let's go back up to a bit where you can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm going to be a little bit cheeky with this one, and I'm going to hopefully, if they fit, use a set of long nose pliers. Should hopefully fit in there. Not really. I was going to use them to hold that in place. So what I'll do is I'll use the screwdriver to push the screw in from the outside on this side. And then use the long nose pliers in a different way to hold that power adapter in place and find my hole. I think that's it. Should pull it in, which it's doing. Yep, we're in place. Grab the other screw. Do the same thing again. Screw in from there. Come on, in you go. There you go. And find the other hole. Should be a lot easier to find because it's lined up. Right, there we go. So, yes. We've lined that up pretty well. Difficult to see this stuff, isn't it? I apologise for that. but you can see the outside of the case where those two screws are. Yep, so there you go. There's my power supply. Where the hell is my angle going? Just look at what you're doing, for crying out loud, Dave. So there's my screws there. Get the cable out the way and focus slightly. There you go. So there's all your bits. So that's where I'm screwing that in. So I shall go back to the wider view. There's not a lot to see inside really, just the thing getting closer. Closer. Simplified one, hello. Oh, thank you for trying to cheer. It's just sad that you're out of bits, but that's fine. I don't mind. I really don't. It's fine. Just watching is enough. Just knowing that someone out there cares enough to pop in and say hello. I mean, obviously bits and so on, if you've got them, would be greatly appreciated. All donations gratefully received and all that jazz. Okay, let's try and screw them in again. Just brought that in nicely. And done. So that's the power supply in. Nice and securely attached on the inside there. Okay, so that's all screwed in nicely in place. So in terms of power component, we're done. Just let me untangle the cable again. Hello. Right, and in order to ensure we've got power to everything we need, oops, on the slant there. Never mind. Got a power plug. Look, that plug goes to the DVD drive, which uses one of the really old-fangled types of power connector. I haven't seen them for a while. That just pops on there. If I can get it the right way up, and there we go. Right, so that's all those connections sorted out. Now we can put the fan back on. So obviously, in our hippie happy world of computers, we have to put the processor paste on. I have processor paste here. Cooler Master, no less, about 5 years old. And we squidge a little bit of that onto the processor in order to protect against heat damage. So let me just untangle the thing. Now, a lot of people tend to squidge this on quite a lot, and that's not how you do this. Less is more in this case, apparently. Or at least it has been every time I've done it. When I was rebuilding the gaming PC to have a water-cooled system, again, obviously did the same thing, and just a teeny tiny bit is needed to cover, because the intent is that obviously once you're on there, so let me just let you guys squeeze in a bit closer again. Move the cables out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. The pressure from the believe it or not, that should be enough. Where's my lid? Lid back on. The pressure from the heatsink will squidge all that down. So let's put that on. Now it's plastic, so just make sure we're free of any other cables that may have got caught underneath. Make sure we locate our little pins into the holes on the board. Seems to be unable to do for some reason. Get that cable out the way. Right, there's one. 2. Right, all lined up. Now this, so we use the rare, often not seen very often, flat screwdriver blade. Oh yeah. And try and pop this on. Oops, so it's stuck in there. Okay, I'm a little confused what's happening here. Ah yes. What I've done wrong here, you see, is you have to pop them out. Let me just show you. So there's your pin there. Let me just show you that in a little bit better focus. So your pin is inside the thing there. You have to pull that up. Like so. So that it comes out. And then you can push that into the thing. So let's try that again. Make sure we've got things the right way around. I haven't managed to get any paste or anything yet. So just locate that into the hole there. And that should seat it down nice and firmly. Onto the base, as close as it will go anyway. And then by turning that, that should bolt it down. Use a smaller flat bit. That's right. Doesn't feel very secure to me, but it seems to be right. Right, now that cable goes down the side of here, down the side of this fan, and out the way in a little clip. In there. Like so. So that went into that little clip on the side. That's fan cable retained. Okay, I'm just hoping that's down far enough. And now we put the shroud on. You remember seeing this earlier. Let's focus back down on the thing again. And the shroud goes round to ensure that it's protected. Not entirely sure which way around it goes. I'm just going to assume it goes this way around. That is meant to clip there, I believe. Just checking it with my fingers, make sure it's firm. That seems to be clipped on. Oh, there we go. Let me take that off again, just double check this. I'm not sure this is on right. I don't think I'm being brutal enough, is my issue here. Torch on for a second. Oh, does seem to be all the way down. Oh, not sure at all, you know. So that pulls it up. Push. Which then locks it in place. Well, it's definitely locked in place. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so I think that's on. I hope that's on. I've released that cable again because I don't think it's secured properly into where it's meant to be, because that lid wasn't going on properly. So let's just re-secure some of these cables. And I think that needs to go underneath there. So I'm just going to gently push them in. sure that all these other bits are out of the way. And then try and put this shroud over the top. Doesn't seem to want to go on. Thinking, where does this go? This goes this side, so I feel that this would need to go that way. To allow that to go in there. So I'm pretty sure about that. I'm pretty sure that goes on there, it just doesn't seem to want to sit. And we're just not being forceful enough. The thing that worries me is these things about being forceful enough. Seems to be. That's where it's meant to go. Okay, I'll leave that there. Okay, so that is all of the internal components reassembled. Let me double check. Make sure that's plugged in, that's good. We're all plugged in there, we're all plugged in there, all plugged in there. That plug's loose because it's a spare one for a hard drive. Cables are all in there. Those need to be clamped into the bit I can never get to. This is where it's all complicated. Trying to get these cables clipped back into where they're meant to be is not a job for the faint-hearted. I shall tell you that much. Sirrah. Okay, so that cable is our USB hub cable. That seems to be taking a lot of space up and is very thick. So basically I need to try and get that lot under that thick cable. But that cable would seem to get in the way of that idea. So what I'll do is I'll take that cable out. However I can do that. Come on. Oh my god. I mean, I have small hands. I must get little tiny children to do this. Will the old needle nose pliers give me a hand? Will they help me out? Ha! They've never yet failed me. Right, so let's lodge that lot out from there. Get it tangled up in my headset. And then plug it back in again. Sorted. Right, so that can now go over the top of all that mess. And hopefully I can now push that down. Let me focus back on where we need to be with that. Put that over there just now. Bifford! Micro. Actually, is it micro or is it mini? I'm sure it's MiniITX. But in my head I want to say micro because it's the smallest thing I've ever worked on. And I have not sacrificed to the blood god as yet, impressively enough. Very good corn reference there. Well done. Very apt at the moment as well. I have applied for a job at Games Workshop yesterday. Well, I've got an interview for a job at Games Workshop yesterday. And I think it went okay. I'm not sure, you know, it's difficult to tell these things when you're not talking to someone face to face from management perspectives whether you've done well in an interview or not right on the day. You don't really know until you come out of the interview the other side and then see what's going on from there. But it certainly seemed very positive. We had to give on to the spectre for sacrifice. Yes, well, I'm actually managing to do quite well so far. Look, no blood as of yet. Every time I pick up a power tool, however, it's sacrificial altar. May as well just let the blood flow. Right. So that's got that cable under there. I'm talking about code all day, so tuck that away somewhere around there. That's come off again because it's not very secure, not like it used to be. Cables. Right, so now all the cables are plugged in, most of the cables are locked away. Let's give you a better kind of view of what we're doing. There's me, hello. Picture of my fat belly. Waiting for an interview a few weeks back, got the job, current job don't to leave, support the bus got boosting job time. Nice! Senior negotiator. Given the fact that people have negotiated on your behalf, that seems quite an impressive feat. Well done. Right, so we need to try and get that in there. That's where it all goes tits up. This is where I'll probably sacrifice the god because there's lots of sharp edges around this bit. There we go, we're in the slot. In the pipe 5x5. We're down, we're in. Put that bit away. Grab that bit. Can't grab that bit, it doesn't want to come out. And the last two screws, which are the ones I've been taking out over and over again over the last few weeks. Actually, that screwdriver bit is no good whatsoever. keep it the one I had originally would be a good idea. So let's pull that back out. Boop. Okay, screw that on. Screw that on. Right, so that's cleaned everything out, polished up our processor, put some paste on. Hopefully I've got that stuff all back in correctly. I'll find out when I fire it up. If it explodes, then I know I did something wrong. If it doesn't fire up at all, then I've done everything wrong. Let's have a lid on there. And all the bits and pieces for it are downstairs. So the monitor for it is downstairs. Keyboard and stuff are up here. And the new power supply is sitting just at my feet. So, as I mentioned before, let's recap a little. So there's our box, all nice and sealed up. There you go, a lovely little Pentium, though that's me, you don't want to see that, it's not a pretty sight. So that's it. The wizard will break it. And here's the old power supply. So an external power pack, as we looked at earlier, 12 volt output, 4.17 amps. Amps times volts equals watts. So roughly 50 watt power supply. Boo! Not enough to power a light bulb, let alone a PC. So if the intent is to use it as a media server, then obviously there's something a little bit more with a bit more oomph in it. So I purchased this. Good old China. Contact Tom in China if you want some stuff. There's his phone number. Ask for Tom. And here we are. So, good kit this. I mean, it's a nice bit of kit. We've got this whole bunch of cables. It's awesome. I mean, that's a lot of cables, all with exactly the same plug. So I'm not entirely sure what that's for. I mean, that's a whole lot of cable. Hang on. I mean, they're all exactly the same plug. But yeah, Technical Friday. End of the world comes by cable tentacles. Cthulhu in tentacles. Anyway, sorry. Go away. So yes. Power supply plug. Same size as the original one. Fits in there quite nicely. I've tried it. Your usual kind of kettle lead adapter. So for your UK plug. So the question is, what do we do? I mean, they've even thought, right? This is how cool this computer is. This PSU is they've even included an adapter so that you can wire it in. So if your computer or your bit of kit that you're trying to power doesn't have the right adapter, you can use this one, and it's easy enough. Just screw some cables in the back of there. You saw what the power cable looked like in the back of the PC there, and you can just go away. So there's your socket. In it goes. Job's a good one. So of course, what I did earlier, I'll do it for you on the screen as well, just so you can see. Is there we have our power supply socket there. Slightly out of focus. Let's bring it in a little. Let's change the focus on the camera so that you can see it even more clearly. There you go. There's our plug. Plugged right in. Happy as Larry. Good firm fit. Nice. Hard drive multi-rack. Ah, yeah, that would work, wouldn't it? Ah, I never even thought of that. Where's my little hard drive? Move that out of the way. That out of the way. Find the hard drive. So this is my external drive. As you can see, it's a bit dusty, I do apologise. my external drive that has been used as a media server hard drive. I got a new hard drive from Amazon today. Amazon Prime thingy. Amazon Prime Prime Day had an 8 terabyte Seagate drive for a very nice price, about 100 quid. Oh, don't fit! Look, don't fit! Actual power supply plug for it is here. They ain't the same, are they? Yeah. Oh well, never mind. That's where that other adapter thing comes in handy, isn't it? So yeah, you can remember that will come in handy for a number of different things. So what I want to do is try and test this. So what time is it now? 9:30. What I shall do is I shall go and get the other bits and bobs that need to go into this computer, and then we'll have a bit of a test. So if you give me 2 secs, I'll actually have a call of nature while I'm away, and then we'll come back and we'll try and assemble this thing. Okie dokie. So I shall see you in a second. Intermission. See you in a sec. I'm back. Just not really showing you what I'm up to as of yet, but here's what I've been up to. TV, cables. Just getting everything plugged in. So, this is the cable for the power supply for the thing, for the hard drive. This is the cable for the monitor. Should really screw that in one of these days. Screw that into there. Should be fine. There we go. Mouse is already plugged in. Just got to find the damn mouse. Keyboard. Plug into there. Network cable. Well, the power cable, yes, that's the thing. But it's going to live in a very simple place, hopefully. So it'll be sitting on a table in a room where it's not really going to get looked at or touched at any point. So we need to plug that into the socket. So this is one of those power line adapters. The network cable goes into a power line, and I've got the power line main thing downstairs plugged into another one. So that's pretty cool. These really do work very well. I was sceptical that you'd get a decent hardline connection through a power socket, but colour me impressed. Right, so where's the mouse? I think this is the mouse. Is it? Could be. It has a battery on it. A flat battery by the look of it. Okay. Put a new battery in as well then. Got any batteries in here? Triple A's. There's a double A. Come on. Right, and on. Woo! Power. Power. Oh, power. Right. So, power cable for the power adapter is over here. Sorry, it's there. Sorry, it's not very interesting, is it, looking at a blank screen, looking at another blank screen. Alright, so we have power on the power adapter. Woohoo! So just so you know, there's the power adapter specs on the back there. So like I said, the last one was 12 volts and 4 amps. This is 12 volts and 10 amps, which is 120 watts, using your maths. So that's much better. So that should give us a hell of a lot more power. So the last thing I'll do is plug this in and then switch on, because I am terrified of what's going to actually happen with it. So I'm just going to pop that over there. Switch this TV on. I'm in the controls for doing that. So I don't know where the remote is for it at the moment. Buttons. Hello. Come on, every TV has a set of manual buttons. Except this one apparently. You've seen all my stuff. There are literally no buttons. Oh no, wait a minute. Right, found it. The most inaccessible place you can imagine. Okay, we're on VGA PC mode, so we are plugged in. No signal through PC, that's what you'd expect. So, for better or worse, are we going to give this a try? Is it a smart touch bevel? God no, it's ancient. Only half of it works. The HDMI in doesn't work, which is what it's been used for VGA. Ugh. Right, so let's spin that. Let's move it over there. Put that on top of the PC. It will give us more of a perspective on it. Put that there. Put that over there. Spin that round a bit, and then hopefully you'll see most of what's going on. Apologies for the angle and the light quality, but there you go. Right, so, oh my god, I am terrified. What the hell am I doing? So in goes the power socket. Nothing seems to smell like burnt chips at the moment. So I'm going to take my headset out. I'm going to press the power button. Power has come on. It's a weird chipset, this one. It actually well, it's working. We have liftoff. We're in Windows, we're happy. Oh my god. So I'm going to take my headset out for the moment. I almost ran my server late encounters yesterday. Only one person showed us 2 fellowship tubing in. Yay! Let's dump down to 16 by 12. Apply. Revert. That should sort out the resolution on the screen. Come on, bounce across. There you go. Okay. Revert. Cancel. Right, so we're on. What's it? Install device driver software off the keyboard. Okay, so that's pretty good. There's an odd spinny noise coming from. Maybe there's a cable touching the fan somewhere. I'll check that later. But CPU, got temperatures. 3746. Okay, so that's a good sign. So our PSU is working with our computer. I haven't broken anything, I haven't destroyed anything, nothing's exploded or fell apart. Temperatures are looking pretty good. Got a 37.0 degree temperature on that when it's doing nothing. Alright, let's plug the hard drive in. So this, as I said, is a USB 3 drive. It's powered, so it shouldn't take any major power from the bus, but it may take some. because it'll be plugged into USB, and USB always has some small amount of power drain. And as I say, the issue with this computer was that it wasn't allowing you to plug peripherals into it without going and dying all over the place. So let's USB it up. I'm just going to plug in the blue cable. I'm not showing you this because that would be a lot of twisting. So that's plugged in. Overboarded to view files. Okay, so we've got something plugged in and it seems to work. Okay, next then. Fully USB powered drive. Just find a cable to go with it. So here is my Toshiba drive. Need a cable for it. One will do. So it all works anyway. So I'm going to plug that into the front of the PC because I don't think I've got any plugs left on the back now. Got one under there. Can't see. I think there is one under there actually, so let's go for it. Let's see if there is one. Explore! Yep. So my second drive is being plugged in now. Okay. Okay, so that's working fine. Jostled the cable a little bit. Hasn't done anything major. That's fine. Well, that's further than I've ever got. So that is successful so far. So 2 drives plugged in. And no crash. Try another one. I'm going to try USB 3 one this time. Or am I? Just try whatever I can find. So, cable there, a USB 3 cable, got a USB 3 drive. This is a USB 3 drive. We're like the Seagate. Not sponsored. Hashtag. Let's go for the newest one. 2 USB 3s, I've got 2 plugs left. Let's see how much we can get away with. So let's open up the computer, see what we've got. Yeah, she's feeling a lot better. She's still not 100%, but she is feeling better. Better's not great. But that's fine. You go and take care of business, dude, and thank you for watching for a bit. Appreciate you popping on and staying on for this very technical, very odd stream of a type I never usually do. Come on, what way does the plug go in? Certainly not that way. That way, there we go. And I'll plug the other one in just in case. That's probably setting myself up for failure later on. Let's plug it in anyway. Right, so that's 2. Let's go for number 1, USB 3 drive. Plugged in, power to the drive. We're in. So that's an empty drive, that's worrying. Okay, so we now have 3. This is definitely further than I've ever got with this computer. So this is looking good so far. I'm very, very happy with this so far. Very, very happy. I've actually got the wrong window on the main computer. Sorry, I'm on the wrong broadcast thing. There we go. Not that it's working. It's because it's that one. Ha! Is anyone still there? Clonimus, I see you popped on. Power. Right, so lastly, can we manage 4 drives? Is another USB 3 drive. And normally if it's going to fall over, it falls over as soon as I plug the drive in. So again, bloody hell. That's in. That's 4 drives now running on this PC without any flaw whatsoever. That, I feel, is a successful test. So I now have a fully functional working media server. We've had a bit of a look inside, cleaned up the inside, made sure everything's okay, put some new paste on the processor's working fine. New upgraded power supply that came today. With my upgraded hard drive, which at the moment is having information transferred across. So I now have a fully functioning working media server. Well, blow me. That's just wow. Very, very happy with that. So what I'll do is I'm going to leave that working for a bit. I think the sound just going to think my headphones just switched themselves off. Never mind. But yeah, so that's been. Oh no, we're still there. I'm quite happy with that. I am really, really happy. So I think the big test will be, can I access some of these hard drives? Yeah, I can access hard drives all over the place to my little heart's content. So the clicking noise I'm hearing is coming when I'm moving windows around. That's weird. That's bizarre. But anyway, bizarre. That's strange. I'm gonna have to work out what that means. But ultimately, I mean, I'm sitting here with 4 hard drives, all happily chugging away. So there's a view of such happiness. So 4 little lights from school, are we? On 4 hard drives, PC running away, little light on the power supply. Very happy computer. Zip. And just happy. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Just smacking the power cable with the camera thing now, and it's working. So before I was having issues when I was tapping the power cable, it was dropping out. That's not happening again. So that issue is now also sorted out. So booyah. Nice one. So yeah, I hope that was entertaining. I hope it was useful. Yeah, bit of a different thing. Can dust your PC. Yeah, that's cool. I'll do that. So I'll just pop onto the because obviously the chat window seems to have vanished off that particular window. So Bifford, Cleonimus, Dietrich, if you're still hanging about out there, thank you for popping by this evening. It's been a bit of a different stream to what I usually do. I wanted to get this stuff done, and people that, or the person that I usually run Carrier Command with, is not around today, so did a bit of a slightly different thing, and I hope you enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed it. It's been a bit different. I do enjoy a bit of the older PC stuff now and again. Get rid of that intermission screen, I think. But yeah, it's a bit different. I've enjoyed it. It's been successful. It's good to see I've still got the touch. And I hope you found it interesting. I will definitely be putting this up on YouTube, so those of you watching on YouTube, I hope you've enjoyed this moderately technical stream. Bit of a different thing for me. And I hope you enjoy it as a video. If you do, like, share, subscribe, the usual crap. And let me know what you think. If you want to dislike, then tell me why you dislike, and we'll see. But again, not usually a technical channel, this one, at least not very often anyway. But I think it's been quite successful this evening. I mean, having a PC running with that didn't work with 2 hard drives, or sometimes even just 1 hard drive attached to it, now it's got 4 of them. I've actually plugged in every USB port on this PC now. But once I get the 8TB drive filled with stuff, it should only need 1 or 2. I'll probably still use the other external drive as well, just for the sake of it, just for shits and giggles. But nah, it's been very positive. So yes, thank you for watching. Take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. I shall be online again on Wednesday next week, as normal, hopefully, pending spousal illnesses and the usual kind of stuff. So I hope you'll join me then, at which point we will be continuing and hopefully finishing off what I think will be the final mission. But I'm actually thinking it might not be, because I'm thinking there was more stuff above Vulcan, because Vulcan was the centre of the Carrier Command archipelago. So what was the first? The outpost, the main base for the enemy carrier in the original Carrier Command was Nemesis. So I'm actually wondering if it's not going to be the last stream. But it's going to be stream 10. We are going to do the assault on Fulcrum next Wednesday. So if you want to join us for that, that's probably going to be a fairly exciting stream with quite a lot of shenanigans going on. And maybe a few restarts. But we'll see where it goes. But for now, everyone, all 2 of you, hopefully more than that on YouTube. I hope you've enjoyed the stream. Take care. Have a great week. And I shall see you next Wednesday. Fly safe. Take care.